Zara, a poor orphan girl raised like a housemaid in her own uncle's house. She cleaned, she cooked, she served, but still, they called her useless, ungrateful, a burden. Her stepsister, Melissa, was the golden child, pampered, praised, and proudly engaged to the richest young man in town. But then everything changed. On the wedding day, Melissa disappeared. And in a desperate bid to save their family name, they did the unthinkable. They forced Zara into Melissa's wedding dress. Tears in her eyes, shame in her heart. Zara became a bride by force. But what was supposed to be a quiet cover-up turned into a wedding night from hell. Because this isn't just a love story. It's a tale of betrayal, heartbreak, hidden secrets, and one orphan girl's rise from ashes to revenge. The full story begins now. Zara was only 12 when the fire took everything from her. Her parents, her home, her happiness. One minute she was laughing in the kitchen with her mother, the next, everything was black. Smoke, screams, flames licking the ceiling. And then, silence. Cold, painful silence. She survived. But to what kind of life? With nowhere to go, Zara was sent to live with her mother's elder sister, Madame Binta, a woman whose heart was colder than an abandoned freezer. Madame Binta lived in a big house with a tall gate, fine curtains, and pride bigger than her belly. But inside that house, Zara tasted hell in human skin. "Oh, so you've come to eat us too?" Madame Binta scoffed the day she arrived. "Fire didn't finish you. Now you want to finish us." She had a daughter, Melissa, 16 years old, light-skinned, always smelling like imported perfume and wickedness. The kind of girl who changed clothes 5 times a day and didn't lift a finger, not even to flush the toilet. Zara? She became the maid. No, worse than a maid. Maids are paid. Zara swept, mopped, washed, cooked, fetched water, ironed Melissa's clothes, polished Madame Binta's shoes, and still got insulted for breathing too loud. "Why is your nose so noisy when you sleep?" Melissa once said, wrinkling her face like Zara's existence gave her allergies. "Can't you even sleep quietly? Gosh!" Her bed? A torn mat on the cold corridor floor between the kitchen and the toilet, where rats ran free and cockroaches danced at night. No pillow. No fan. Just a thin wrapper and prayers to survive till morning. And yet, in public, Madame Binta wore fake kindness like makeup. Zara? Oh, she's like our own blood. We love her so much. She's such a quiet, humble girl. Meanwhile, at home, "Did you touch my cake?" Melissa shrieked one day, even though crumbs were still on her own lips. "Mummy, she ate my cake." Before Zara could defend herself, a long cooking spoon landed across her back with a quah! "You're not even grateful you're still alive," Madame Binta barked. "That fire should have finished you well." Zara bit her lip, not because the pain was small, but because crying would make it worse. In this house, tears were fuel. The more you cried, the more they burned you. Melissa would deliberately pour water on the floor and call out, "Zara, you didn't clean properly. There's water everywhere. Come lick it with your tongue, you wild dog." And Madame Binta, she would only sip her tea and say, "If she had parents, maybe she would have had sense. But now she's here. She must learn the hard way." Zara never went to school. Her school was hardship. Her lessons, pain. Even when she fell sick and burned with fever, Madame Binta scoffed, "If you die, at least one less mouth to feed." Years passed like cold wind, but nothing warmed Zara's life. Now 18, she was still trapped in Madame Binta's house. Still sleeping on the corridor. Still doing the cooking, washing, scrubbing, and serving like a prisoner without chains. Her hands were rough. Her clothes were always faded, and her dreams? Long buried under insult and suffering. But Melissa? Ah! Melissa, Madame Binta's golden egg, had grown into a full-blown slay queen. Pretty face, long lashes, loud makeup, loud mouth, and louder lifestyle. She had sugar daddies on speed dial. From Uncle Ken in Dubai to Daddy Mike in Banana Island, Melissa knew how to play her cards. She traveled like a suitcase. Today Abuja, tomorrow South Africa, next week London. And when she came home, her suitcases didn't return empty. Wigs, perfumes, new iPhones, dollars, lipsticks like rainbow. Zara, she'd call, snapping her fingers like a boss calling her pet. Come and help me unpack, housemaid. Then she'd smirk and whisper just loud enough for Zara to hear. See your life. No makeup, no man, no future. Are you even a girl? Madame Binta always cheered her daughter on. Melissa, my star, you're really making us proud. See how you're helping this house. Zara should be learning from you, but she's just sitting there like a dry tree. Useless. Zara would keep quiet, her heart bleeding quietly like a wound hiding under clothes. One night, as Zara was washing Melissa's high heels and torn lingerie, the two of them stood on the balcony sipping juice and discussing Melissa's latest sugar daddy. Madame Binta looked at Zara and added with a wicked grin, maybe if you were beautiful like Melissa, one rich man would carry you too. But look at you. A whole grown girl, still flat like a dry akara. The worst part? Whenever Melissa's friends came over, the house turned into a fashion show of fake eyelashes, loud chewing gum, laughter, and lies. And Zara? She became the unpaid waitress. Zara, bring us juice now, Melissa would shout from the living room, legs crossed like a queen. And make sure you wipe that ugly face before coming. I don't want my friends losing appetite. The friends would laugh, sipping cocktails Zara prepared with trembling hands. One of them once whispered, "Are you sure she's even your cousin? She looks like a house rat that survived war." Melissa smiled proudly. She's just living under our mercy. Without us, she'd probably be begging on the street. Then she'd turn to Zara and say, "Why are you standing there like a confused mosquito? Bend down and clean my friend's shoe." Oh, you thought I was joking? And if Zara dared to hesitate, slape right there, across her face, loud, hot, in front of everyone. Next time, use your ears and not your pity face. Melissa would scream, flipping her wig dramatically. And her friends? They didn't flinch. They sipped and giggled like it was a normal show. But that was nothing compared to the way Melissa behaved when her sugar daddies came around. Whenever a big man knocked the gate, Melissa's voice changed, sweet like honey, fake like her lashes. "Zara!" she would call with a sickly smile. "Help me bring my heels. Fast, fast! My man is here. Don't mess up." Zara would rush with the shoes. "Are you blind?" Melissa would shout, dragging the shoes from her hand. "You want me to look like a villager in front of him?" And the moment the man stepped inside, Melissa became an actress. One day, when the man handed Melissa a wad of cash, she turned to Zara and said, "You see this? This is what beauty brings. You'll remain in rags forever. In fact, when I marry him, you'll be the one washing our toilet." The man laughed like it was a comedy show. Then, right in front of him, Melissa slapped us Zara again when she forgot to carry her shopping bags. A full-grown girl, slapped like a stray goat in the presence of strangers. Zara's eyes burned with silent tears, but she didn't cry. She bowed her head, whispered, "Yes, ma," and carried the shopping bags to the car. Months later, Raymond Martins, the billionaire every woman prayed for, had just returned from Europe after running businesses across 3 continents. And now he wanted to settle down and find a wife. Of all the girls in the city, it was Melissa that caught his eye. With her bold makeup, Tight dresses, fake accent, and loud lifestyle, she walked into a party one night like she owned the world. And Raymond, he saw her and fell hard. 1 week later, they were already going on yacht dates. By the second week, she was posting videos of his mansion and cars. And then the bomb dropped. Raymond proposed. In front of cameras at a luxury restaurant, a diamond ring the size of a marble. People screamed. Melissa almost fainted. Her followers on social media doubled overnight. She ran home that day screaming like a lottery winner. He is rich. He is handsome. He has the charm of 10 kings. Mummy, I told you I was born for wealth. She shoved the ring in Madame Binta's face. See this? He said I'm the only woman he wants to spend forever with. Madame Binta danced like she had won a political seat. My daughter, you've made me proud. Zara, come and see what a real woman looks like. Not all these broomstick girls walking up and down without purpose. Zara stood at the corner, silent as usual, holding the mop she was using to clean the tiles. Melissa turned to her, her voice thick with sarcasm. Aya, Zara, don't be sad. When I move into his mansion, maybe I'll let you come along. As my personal maid, you'll be sweeping the marble floors while I sleep in silk. Her friends laughed. Even the neighbors started calling Zara housemaid of the bride. Some would whisper, she used to be her cousin. But now, just a nobody in the same house. The insult was hot and public. One evening, when wedding plans were in full swing, Raymond visited their house. He came in quietly, dressed simply. Zara, not knowing who he was, greeted him with a soft, "Good evening, sir," and offered him a glass of water. He looked at her, her eyes, her posture, the quiet strength. Something inside him paused, just for a second. But Melissa ran out and jumped on him like a show. Baby, what are you doing talking to her? She's just our maid. Ignore her. Let's go inside and discuss the wedding menu. She pulled him away quickly, laughing. And Zara? She quietly returned to the kitchen. The house was glowing. Gold chairs, red carpet, cameras everywhere. It is the biggest wedding of the year. The bride? Melissa Binta. Melissa, yes, the same Melissa who had everything, had gone for one last ride with one of her sugar daddies a day before her wedding. Scap Shay, it's just small enjoyment before I tie myself to one man forever, she had giggled, tossing her bridal shoes into the air. She promised her mother, Madame Binta, don't worry, Jur, I'll be back before 7 a.m. My wedding is 11. I'll come dress up and still have time to do TikTok. But 7 a.m. came. No Melissa. 8 a.m. No call. By 9 a.m., Binta's face had changed color. Relatives were seated. Caterers had finished arranging the buffet. The groom's convoy was already approaching. And the bride? Nowhere to be found. Madame Binta was pacing like a mad woman, sweat pouring down her back despite the AC. Her hands were shaking, her voice rising. She wants to disgrace me. She wants to bury me alive on my glory day. Then her eyes landed on Zara. Quiet, skinny Zara, sweeping the hallway in her faded wrapper. And that was when the evil idea hit. You, Binta barked. Zara froze. Ma? You're going to wear that gown. Sit there. Keep your mouth shut. You'll be covered with veil. He won't even know. Just sign the damn certificate. After today, we'll fix it. Zara's eyes widened. No, Mama, please. I can't do that. Slap! Binta's hand landed like thunder. You ungrateful rat. After all we've done for you, you want to ruin everything? Before Zara could move, Binta grabbed her and dragged her to the room. She screamed. She begged. She cried. But soon she was forced into the white dress that wasn't hers. Makeup wiped roughly on her cheeks, veil pulled down to hide her tears, perfume sprayed to cover her fear. Zara stood like a broken doll, dressed like a bride, shaking like a leaf. Remember, Binta whispered with venom, if you try anything stupid, I'll tell everyone you're a mad girl. Do your part and play along after the party. Melissa will return and take her place. Zara nodded silently. What choice did she have? The wedding began. People clapped, drums rolled. The bride walked down the aisle, slow, quiet, her face hidden. Raymond smiled brightly, waiting. My queen, he whispered. Zara's lips trembled. She couldn't speak. The vows were said. Her heart raced. When it was time to sign the certificate, her hands shook like a prisoner signing her own sentence. But she did it, signed and sealed. Zara was now Mrs. Raymond Martins, the bride by mistake, the wife by force. And Raymond? He never saw her face. He thought it was Melissa behind the veil. People cheered, champagne popped, photos were taken. But deep inside that gown, Zara was crying, her tears soaking the white dress, not from joy, but from fear, because she didn't know what would happen when the veil finally came off. The wedding was over, the guests had eaten, the lights had dimmed. The so-called couple had arrived at their luxury suite. And Zara? She was sitting on the edge of the bed, hands trembling, veil still covering her face like a shadow of shame. Raymond walked in, already loosening his tie, excitement in his eyes. He stood in front of her with a smile. Now let me finally see the face of my beautiful bride, he said softly. Zara froze. Her breath hitched. But it was too late. He lifted the veil. And what he saw was not Melissa. Not the glamorous girl he met at a yacht party. Not the social media queen who called him my billion-dollar baby. No, it was Zara, plain, scared, eyes red from crying. What the hell is this? Raymond roared, jumping back as if he saw a ghost. Zara stood up immediately, shaking like a leaf. I'm sorry, I didn't want to. Get out, he thundered. She burst into tears and ran out of the room, still in the wedding dress, barefooted and heartbroken. Raymond grabbed his phone. He dialed Melissa's number. Once, twice, 10 times. Nothing. Switched off. He hissed angrily and called Binta. The phone rang, and like she had been waiting all day for that moment, she answered sweetly, On my way now, my handsome son-in-law. 10 minutes later, she arrived at the hotel, wearing a dramatic wrapper, fake tears already prepared in her pocket. My son, I'm so sorry, she cried before even stepping inside. Melissa had an accident around 4 a.m. today. She was rushed to the hospital. That's why she couldn't make it. Raymond narrowed his eyes. And the best solution was to drag a random girl into my wedding? Zara is not random, Binta defended quickly, wiping imaginary tears. She's family. She wore the dress so people won't laugh at us. We couldn't cancel the wedding. The news already spread. It was a sacrifice. She did it to save your honor. Raymond's jaw clenched. She did it to trap me. Binta blinked fast, trying to fake a sniff. Aha! Don't say that! Zara is just a poor child. The vow was not meant for her. Please calm down. Don't disgrace our family. Raymond didn't say another word. He simply walked back upstairs. The next morning, Zara entered the room slowly with her head bowed. Her bridal gown was wrinkled. Her eyes were swollen. But she still managed to whisper, Good morning, sir. Raymond sat by the table, sipping coffee like it was poison. He looked her up and down and laughed bitterly. So what now? He said coldly. You want to be addressed as Mrs. Raymond? Is that the plan? Should I announce you on Instagram or invite paparazzi? Zara said nothing. She just stared at the floor, tears quietly rolling down her cheeks. Well, sorry to disappoint you, Raymond continued, standing up. You may be my wife by paper, but in this house, he paused, looking her straight in the eyes, you are nothing more than a housemaid. She gasped slightly, but he didn't stop. You'll wash, sweep, serve my food? I don't want to see you in fancy dresses. No makeup, no smile, and definitely no dream of sharing my bed. He walked past her and added one last slap of sarcasm. Congratulations on your wedding, maid. You got the husband. Now go and get your mop. Zara fell to her knees, sobbing. The veil was gone, but the pain was just beginning. Raymond didn't just say it and forget it. No, he meant every single wicked word. The next morning, while sipping fresh juice by the poolside like a king without conscience, he summoned the chief maid, Matilda, a woman with the face of a bulldog and the heart of a frying pan. From today, Raymond said with a blank expression, the new girl, Zara, is your responsibility. Matilda raised one brow. The bride? Raymond scoffed. Bride? Call her that again and you'll be joining her outside. That girl is nothing but a mistake in white lace. Matilda chuckled. Understood, sir. I want her working harder than everyone in this mansion, Raymond said coldly. I don't want to see her sitting. I don't want to hear her breathe. Give her the dirtiest jobs, and if she ever complains, report her to me. Consider it done, sir. Zara's nightmare began that same hour. Her bridal gown was exchanged for a stained housemaid uniform 2 sizes too big. Her wedding ring? Thrown in a drawer like expired chewing gum. The first chore? Scrub the toilet with her bare hands. Make sure you use your fingers well, Matilda said, arms folded. You know you're not really the madam of this house, just one cheap replacement bride. Zara nodded slowly, tears dripping onto the wet tiles as she scrubbed. Then she was made to clean the swimming pool under the sun. No food, no rest, no kindness. Zara's soft hands soon became bruised and blistered. Her once bright eyes now looked empty, like a girl watching her own life die slowly. But even that wasn't enough. One evening, while Raymond had guests over, businessmen in fine suits sipping wine by the balcony, Matilda called out in her usual wicked voice, Zara! Come clean dog poop behind the guest house now, and carry it yourself. Don't use broom. The men burst into laughter. Raymond smirked silently. Zara bent down and obeyed, her whole body shaking with shame. One of the guests turned to Raymond. Is that your wife? Raymond sipped his drink and replied with a half smile. That's just my accidental bride. A walking error. She's better with mops than makeup. Zara heard it. She wiped her tears with her sleeve and forced herself to keep working. Because if she dared speak, she had nowhere else to go. That night, she slept in the servants' quarters, on the floor beside a leaking pipe, with her wedding dress folded like a rag beside her. No comfort, no love, no escape. 2 full weeks passed. 2 silent weeks of humiliation for Zara. Of scrubbing, serving, and sleeping on the cold, tiled floor like an unwanted pet. Then Melissa walked back in. She stepped into the mansion like a lioness in high heels, dragging a golden suitcase behind her, face powdered and lips painted blood red. Guess who's back? She announced like a celebrity returning from a world tour. Where's my husband? Zara, who was mopping the corridor, froze. Her heart jumped. Raymond, sitting in the lounge with a glass of wine, slowly stood up. His expression? A mixture of surprise, confusion, and something like disgust. Melissa? He muttered. Oh, so you do remember my name, Melissa snapped, rolling her eyes. I fell in the bathroom on my wedding day, slipped and passed out. Next thing I woke up in the hospital. No one called me, and now I hear my own cousin wore my wedding dress? She turned to Zara like a cobra ready to strike. You evil thing, you stole my man, you wore my gown, sat in my chair, kissed my groom. Zara's lips trembled. She tried to speak, but Melissa shouted, Shut up! Don't talk when I'm talking. You think I'll leave you to enjoy my life? My man? My money? Never. She dragged her suitcase in with drama, looked around like she owned the place. Start packing your rags, Zara. You're not even qualified to be my maid. Your presence here offends me. She clapped twice. Matilda, where's are you? Come help this mistake of a bride gather her clothes and disappear. But Raymond raised his hand. His face was calm, but his voice, thunder. No, he said. Melissa blinked. Excuse me? No one is leaving this house, except you, Melissa. The entire room fell silent. Even the ceiling fan paused. What are you saying? Melissa stammered, her voice suddenly soft. Raymond walked closer, eyes locked on hers. I don't care where you were. The fact is, Zara took the vow, with me, before God, before witnesses. It doesn't matter how it happened. What matters is, I'm legally married, and it's to her. Melissa scoffed. So you want me to be her what? Her co-wife? She turned to Zara and laughed bitterly. Or wait, you want her to end up being my maid in this house, right? Right, Raymond? Raymond didn't answer. He simply turned his back and walked away, leaving Melissa standing there like a statue with a suitcase full of shame. Zara's hands clutched the mop tightly. Tears welled up in her eyes. But for the first time, they weren't from pain. They were from shock. Melissa screamed and stamped her foot. This isn't over. You'll regret this, Zara. You'll sure regret it. But Raymond never turned back. And Zara? She was still shaking, heart pounding, wondering if this was a dream. Because for once, someone stood up for her. A few hours later, the entire house was calm until the sound of clicking heels echoed from the staircase. Melissa, dressed like a queen, stormed into the sitting room like a tornado with makeup. She stood tall before Raymond, who sat calmly on the couch scrolling through his phone like nothing was happening. With fire in her voice, she barked, Raymond, how dare you ask the maid to move my luggage into a guest room? Have you lost your mind? Raymond slowly looked up, gave a calm smile, and replied with a voice as cold as ice. Because, darling Melissa, I have 2 ladies in my house, but none of them has bought a ticket to my heart yet. Melissa's mouth fell open. What? Excuse me? Raymond, baby, I hope that disgusting thing hasn't cooked your senses with some village powder. You can't be falling for that rat in human form. Raymond leaned forward, still smiling like someone who knew something the world didn't. Be careful, Melissa. You're talking too much. Then he stood up, adjusted his shirt, and walked away like a boss in slow motion. Stay in your room, he added without looking back, until I say otherwise. Melissa stood frozen, her face burning in shock and shame. She had always believed Raymond was hers forever. Now, she felt like a guest in a house she once called her own. From behind the pillar, Zara stood silently, clutching the tray she came to serve, her heart pounding. One quiet night, the unthinkable happened. A loud, painful cry tore through the walls. Ah! My stomach! Zara's voice echoed from the servants' quarters. She held her belly tight, rolling on the floor like a dying chicken. Raymond, in his pajamas, jumped off his bed like someone chased by demons. He didn't even wear his slippers. Zara! Zara! He shouted, running straight to her. Without wasting a second, he carried her in his arms and rushed to the car, barefoot. His hands shook on the steering. She was getting cold. At the hospital, the doctor came out after some tests with a tired sigh. Thank God you brought her quickly, sir. If you had delayed a little, we would have lost her. Raymond blinked hard. Lost her? You mean she almost died? The doctor nodded. She was poisoned. There's poison in her system. Poison? Raymond echoed. 3 days later, Zara was discharged, looking weak but grateful. Her eyes sparkled with tears, not because of the pain, but because someone actually cared enough to save her. At home, Raymond did something that shocked the entire house. He moved Zara from the tiny servant passage into a beautiful guest room with AC and soft pillows. Even the bed looked like it belonged to a princess. The next day, he took her shopping. "Pick anything you want," he said as they walked into the biggest mall in the city. "You're not a rag. You must start dressing like you mean something to the world." Zara looked around in disbelief. She touched one gown, then another, and looked at him with eyes full of questions. "Sir, Shh," he said gently. "I said pick anything." Even though she now slept in AC and wore fine clothes, Zara still woke up early, swept the house, cooked meals, and cleaned everywhere. But Melissa? Oh no, she was boiling with rage like a cooking pot left on fire. She stormed into the kitchen one morning, clapping her hands like thunder. "So this is how cheap girls from the gutter steal rich men's hearts?" she spat, dragging Zara's cloth from behind. Zara faced her silently, her eyes calm. "You think I don't know your game?" Melissa hissed. "You're pretending to faint and cry and die just to gain Raymond's pity." She laughed with her mouth wide open. "Let me tell you, you can wear all the fancy dresses, eat rice with gold spoon, even live inside Raymond's mouth if you like, but I'll still send you back to the bush where you crawled out from." Zara swallowed her tears. She didn't speak. Weeks later, it was one sunny afternoon. A visitor came in, Binta, Melissa's mother. Raymond welcomed her with a big smile and even hugged her. "Ah, Mummy Binta, you're welcome," he said warmly. "Thank you, my dear son," she replied sweetly. "God bless you for taking care of my two daughters." Zara, as usual, gave a gentle smile and offered her a drink. Later that evening, the kitchen came alive with laughter and chit-chat as Binta joined Zara and Melissa to prepare dinner. She even rolled up her sleeves like a caring mother-in-law. "It's been a while I cooked like this," she said, giggling. As they were almost done, Binta turned to Zara with her usual soft voice. "Zara, dear, please help me get garlic from the nearby shop. My doctor said I must chew raw garlic every night. It helps my heart." Zara nodded politely, washed her hands, and hurried out. By the time she returned, the dining table was fully set. Everyone was already seated, Raymond, Melissa, Binta, laughing and chatting. Zara quietly placed the garlic on the table and went to sit. Just as Raymond picked up his spoon to eat, he paused. His smile disappeared. He stood up slowly, walked to the TV, and turned it on. "Before we eat," he said in a calm but dangerous voice, "there's something you all need to watch." The room went silent. The video started playing. It was a hidden camera clip recorded right inside the kitchen. On screen, they saw Binta opening her purse, pulling out a tiny bottle, and carefully pouring something into Raymond's soup while Zara was away. The next thing? "Mummy, will it work?" Melissa's voice was heard on the video. "I want my husband fully back to me alone." Binta laughed like a devil in heels. "Don't you trust your own mama again?" she said. Then she added, "That lowlife must leave this house today. If she had just died from that first poison, she would have been buried and forgotten by now." Melissa chuckled in the video. "If only she had eaten it. Now see, she's almost becoming the madam." Binta replied with a sneer. "Don't worry. Once you officially become madam, you and I will arrange how you will visit your sugar daddies in peace." "Thanks, Mom. I can't just imagine being locked down with only one man. That's pure punishment." Back in reality, the room froze. Raymond turned and faced them. His voice was ice cold. Now, eat that food. Binta's face drained of color. What? She stammered. Raymond stepped forward. I said eat it. Since you believe it's safe, go ahead. Eat your own recipe. Or face the law. Melissa stood up in panic, her eyes darting. No, Raymond, please. It was just a joke. Oh, the poison was a joke? He snapped. Binta suddenly dropped to her knees. My son, forgive me. It was the devil. We didn't mean to kill you, just to officially fall in love with Melissa and hate Zara. Nothing more. It's not harmful. Raymond's voice cracked with emotion. You wanted me to kick out your cousin and become your puppet because of your selfishness. You also tried to take your cousin's life. An innocent girl? Zara sat silently, her eyes full of tears. She looked at the food, then at them, two women she had served with all her heart, yet they wanted her dead in return. Raymond picked up the food tray and poured everything into the dustbin. You've lost your seat in this house, he said slowly. And this time, no amount of garlic will protect your evil hearts. Melissa fell to her knees and clung to Raymond's leg like her entire life depended on it. Please, Raymond, she cried, her voice breaking. I'm sorry. I'm your real wife. You chose me. It was supposed to be me, not that thing. Raymond looked down at her like she was a piece of dirt stuck to his shoe. With one loud, final voice, he shouted, Melissa, pack every single thing you brought into this house, because you're leaving. Tonight! Ah, Jesus! Binta gasped, falling to her knees too, with both hands clapping together in fake agony. Raymond, my son-in-law, please don't do this to us. Forgive her. We're sorry, okay? We were just trying to protect your heart from falling in love with the wrong person. Raymond's eyes didn't even blink. Right then, 4 policemen walked into the mansion, their boots loud against the tiled floor. Everyone turned. Raymond simply pointed. Arrest them. Attempted murder and conspiracy. I'm done pretending I didn't see the red flags. Binta's face went pale. Attempted what? No, no, no. Raymond, please don't do this. We can settle. Let's talk like family. Melissa screamed. Zara, you witch! This is all your fault. If I didn't slip in that bathroom. But before she could complete her lies, Raymond's voice sliced through the room like a sharp blade. Wait, he commanded. Everyone froze. The police paused by the door. The air went still. Zara looked confused, her teary eyes darting between the faces. Raymond turned to face her. His expression had changed. No more anger, no more sarcasm, just truth. He slowly walked to her. Zara's legs were shaking. Then, to everyone's shock, he knelt down in front of her. Dead silence. Even the officers looked surprised. Zara, he began, you became my wife in the most mysterious, ridiculous way possible. Without your consent, without a proposal, without a choice. She gasped, tears pouring again. But now, I see things clearly. I've been fighting the wrong person all along. He reached into his pocket and brought out a ring. I love your strength, your calmness, your quiet pain. I love how you smile even when your world is collapsing. I love your heart, Zara. She couldn't breathe. Please, he whispered, marry me properly. End this drama. Let me do it right this time. Zara's lips trembled. Her hand covered her mouth. Through the flood of tears, she nodded slowly. Yes, Raymond. Yes, I will. Gasps echoed. Melissa let out a wild scream like a mad cat trapped in a cage. No, Raymond, you're mine, not hers. Not that thing. Raymond stood, slid the ring onto Zara's finger, and kissed her forehead, then turned to the police. You can take the noise pollution away now. As the officers dragged Melissa and Binta out, one of them smirked and said, "Don't worry, madam. You can tell the world your love story in court." Melissa screamed louder, her voice fading as she was pulled out the door like yesterday's trash. Zara stood there, in shock, the ring on her finger, her tears not from pain anymore, but from disbelief. She never thought her nightmare would turn to this. Hello, family. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. What a ride, right? From betrayal to tears, from lies to love. Zara's journey is just beginning. Let's take a lesson from this story. No matter how life throws you into situations you didn't choose, your strength, silence, and sincerity can turn your worst moments into your biggest blessings. So keep being kind, keep being real. Your time will come. If today's episode touched you or made your heart beat faster, please don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. I love reading your thoughts, so drop them below in your language. Let's chat. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next shocking twist. You won't believe what's coming. I love and appreciate you all. Thanks for always supporting me. See you in the next episode.